Banished is a survival city builder by Shining Rock Software, a studio consisting of a single developer. Still with a sour taste of SimCity in my mouth, I've been really craving a good city builder. The last several years, the only series to provide me with a good experience within the genre is the Anno series by Ubisoft. If you watch our podcast, you'll know I've been really excited to play Banished for quite a while. It's a game I've been following since last summer, so now that Banished is out and I've played it thoroughly, I guess it's time to review it. Let's start with the easy stuff. Banished is a reasonably good looking game for having been developed by a single man. It's serviceable. Deer look like deer, rocks look like rocks, wood looks like wood. The thing that really stands out though, graphically, is the water. I like its appearance as it flows in rivers. It doesn't look real, but it looks correct, if that makes sense. The sound design is mostly listenable, but what really stands out for sound is the music, because it makes me want to jam a screwdriver through my ears and deafen myself. It's a lot of loud, screeching wood flutes. Can't stand it, because they literally screech. However, you can deal with this by just muting the game. I mean, it's a city builder, sound's not a big deal. When I play these games, mostly I put on a podcast or watch TV while playing the game. Something that basically just fills in the background while I'm paying attention to something that's mostly slow moving. There's something that Banished does really excellently. User interface. The entire UI is modular. That means you can turn on or off the minimap, turn on or off the job manager, and place any pane wherever you want it. A game literally cannot have anything but an excellent UI when the entire thing is modular. But let's get to the real meat of Banished. Banished is a game about a group of exiles who've been sent from their home, village / town / city, and need to establish a new home and survive. Emphasis on the survive. Banished substantially differs from most city builders based on the prominence of survival. In most city builders, you can fail to create a substantial or livable environment, but your residents just move away. They don't die. On top of that, residents get elderly, and dying of old age doesn't play a big part in city builders, yet it plays a huge part in Banished. People are important in Banished, and it's strangely unique to Banished in a genre that is all about managing people through city construction. The big challenge to Banished is building just enough housing to grow your population to replace the elderly in their jobs without overburdening your society with infants and adolescents. The elderly get old and die, and infants and adolescents can't work. They place a huge burden on your society because they only take and don't provide. However, you need these children because later, they'll be adults and they'll be able to fill the roles of the recently deceased and contribute to everyone not starving to death or freezing to death in the winter. Since people play such a large role in Banished, they're kept excellent track of. In Banished, people live in a house and have a job, and it is persistent day to day. It doesn't randomly change because it's easier to not track people's lives, like for example in SimCity. Knowing that people will always return to their same home makes planning your town make sense. The simulation makes sense. If you build houses too far away from where people work, then people spend too much time trying to get to work rather than working. If you build storage barns and raw material storage areas too far away from where you farm, mine, fish, or harvest trees, then your workers will spend too much time transporting materials instead of harvesting them, or even in some cases, not be able to have enough time to get food, clothes, or firewood, and then starve or freeze to death. The layout of your town is actually important in Banished, and the effects on the simulation are sensible, which I can't say is true of the city building games I've played in the last while. In SimCity, the simulation is a bloody mess, and in Anno, the layout isn't super impactful on the simulation because of how tiered advancement of islands are and the importance of naval trade. Banished has one major flaw in my opinion. For a city builder, it has very limited building variety. You aren't supposed to build cities which are hugely successful in producing goods for trade or create luxury. You're supposed to build a sustainable town which survives for decades. Everything has to do with surviving. As such, you sort of run out of stuff to do pretty quick, unless you want to play around with some sillier builds where you go after, for example, building exclusively farms and orchards really early in the game. Basically, you run out of things to do if you aren't going to chase the achievements in the game. Also, since there isn't any enforced tiering of buildings, you can build anything at any time, and with the really limited amount of structures, you run out of stuff to do with your town pretty quickly after surviving the first few decades. Banished is a game that managed to completely capture me for a week, but now it's not even my first or second choice of what to play. I've gotten bored of it, and it's pretty much entirely to blame on the limited amount of structures and my complete disinterest in chasing achievements. Banished is a game within a niche genre with a unique premise that is excellently executed. The fact this game was only made by a single person makes it all the more impressive. City builders tend to have really lengthy life cycles, and that if you ever get bored of a city or environment, you can always just make another. And the $20 price tag makes it hard to feel like you won't get your money out of Banished. I really don't think Banished is going to be a game I stop playing permanently in the next few months, but it isn't something I'm fiending over now that I've had it for almost a month. If you're a fan of city builders, I really don't think you'll be left disappointed with Banished, but I also don't see it as something you'll still be playing next year like the old SimCities or Anno, depending on the content updates. With that in mind, I give Banished a 7 out of 10. Hey guys, if you liked this video, remember to like, sub, comment, and such. Also, don't forget you can like me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter. Links are in the description. Also, if you want to play some games with me, you can join the Steam group. Throw me a message. Link also in the description.